Welcome to Gamers Platform.
Oh.
Yeah! Good. Oh, baby! Look at that!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Gamers Platform, the only place to be for all your gaming needs. I'm Adam Wolf, and today we're going to be taking a look at the state of play. PlayStation actually just released it a couple days ago. I didn't know it was happening, so a couple of games were showcased. We had Gran Turismo 7 and Ghostwire Tokyo. We got more of a deep dive into Gran Turismo 7, and I'll be doing a video on that as well. And this is like, I don't know, maybe a deep dive, like gameplay possibly, I'm guessing. From what I've heard, it's gameplay of Ghostwire Tokyo. Very excited about this one because it's weird, but it's like, it's something I've been looking at for ever since it was released, or announced, I should say. And there really wasn't much up until recently about this game. Like, we didn't know what it was about, or even what it looked like, to be honest. I mean, the reveal trailer was extremely detailed, and to be honest, it kind of got me looking at it like, wow, is that real? Like, is that like live action? No, it was actually CG, and it was kind of insane how good it was. Now, the design has changed pretty drastically since then, but for the most part, it still looks like a really good-looking game. So this is going to be a little bit longer of a trailer reaction as opposed to what I usually do, and the Gran Turismo one is going to be pretty long as well. So get yourself a cup of coffee. It's the morning time. We're here to relax and check out Ghostwire Tokyo. Let's do it. Okay, so they got that little disclaimer up in the top left corner there. I mean, it just looks so cool because it's got, like, the magic and everything.
皆さんこんにちは。ゴーストワイヤー東京ディレクターの木村健二です。タンゴゲームワークス一度皆さんにゴーストワイヤーのゲームプレイとストーリーをさらに深く紹介できるのを大変嬉しく思っています。
Guys who made oh, I'm blanking on it. I don't know why.
Welcome
Evil Within.
to Ghostwire Tokyo.
Captured from
a
PS5.
Supernatural action-adventure thriller set in an eerie, haunting vision of Tokyo, with explosive first-person combat and dangerous monsters at its core.
First-person magic combat.
After nearly all of Tokyo's population mysteriously vanishes, the city is flooded with supernatural creatures.
That's really cool, man. The
Our
Japanese have
story
such
begins
interesting
here,
imaginations.
in the fallout of the vanishing.
That's why I love their games.
You awake in the deserted streets of Tokyo with an unknown voice inside your head and strange elemental powers coursing through your veins. Possessed by a mysterious spirit named KK, who has his own agenda.
KK.
You'll need to work
KK.
together to unravel the truth behind the disappearances and save the city from this twisted nightmare. In Ghostwire Tokyo,
I mean, come on, a
you'll
first-person
harness
magic
an arsenal of powerful
shooter?
abilities
That's awesome.
through a mystic art known
I'm
as
coining the phrase now. It's a
ethereal
first-person magic shooter.
channeling raw ether, such as wind,
Fire.
and water.
Yeah.
As the story unfolds, you'll learn to upgrade and master these abilities based on your play style, incorporating powerful choreography.
Now, I don't know if that's for magic, or for visual effect, where it stops like that, which I assume it probably is the point. The reason that it's, you know, the camera kind of stutters like that. Ooh, you get a bow!
You'll have a range of
Come
more
on.
traditional and
You
mystical
know
tools
my
at your disposal.
my history with bows, man. I love them. I love using them in video games.
Are a
I also have
part
one in
of
real life.
Ghostwire Tokyo. And with the Tengu ability, players can grapple
I think
and
it might be
maneuver
for
through the
dramatic
city with
effect,
ease.
to be honest, with the camera stopping like that.
Areas
don't think
of
that would
dense
be
fog
a
not
good
only harbor dark energy
thing to
drains your
show
health,
if, like,
but are
it's
infested with deadly paranormal
caused
creatures.
by some sort of drop in frame rate.
To clear these infected areas,
because of a bug or technical problem.
Torii gates scattered throughout the city.
Get some frame rate drops there.
And by freeing untethered souls, you'll acquire experience to upgrade your ethereal abilities.
Oh, that's so cool.
Throughout Tokyo, you'll discover strange distortions in reality known as Utena spaces, where time and space themselves cannot be trusted. And the only way to complete your mission is to power through them.
That's cool, man.
In this video, we want to bring together these mechanics to show you the world's first extended gameplay preview.
All right. So it obviously we're getting an extended gameplay preview here. We're getting to see some of the HUD here. Very minimalistic. I don't mind that at all. I think depending on the game that you're playing or that you're making, you know, the HUD can make or break a game sometimes. Sometimes there's too much on the screen. Sometimes there's not enough. This could be just enough. I mean, it looks like we got an ammo counter on the bottom right on top of the health bar. And then, of course, the mini-map on the bottom left, which is very strange to me. You know, a lot of games have been doing that. I don't know if I like that because I'm used to the mini-map being in the top right. Because, you know, MMOs, they tend to all look that way. They all tend to have a similar layout in terms of their HUD. So I'm used to the mini-map being up in the top right, but, you know, it's just something you have to get used to.
View of Ghostwire Tokyo. We pick up at a moment where Akito and KK have been separated, leaving Akito with only his wits and traditional weapons.
Dude, give me a bow and I'll go all
must
day.
Track the spirit down. Sneak attacks and core grabs are a great way to clear your path without attracting unwanted attention.
So they got stealth elements, which I like. I like that they got stealth gameplay. That's really cool. I grew up on stealth games. Splinter Cell, Metal Gear Solid. I mean, come on. I'm already out of coffee. Visually, very good looking game. I don't know what engine they're using, though. Actually, I'll look this up while it's going. Unreal Engine 4. I thought so. It has that Unreal Engine look to it, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure. Is that KK? Because he's wearing black. Yep, that's KK.
助け？何様のつもりだ？俺の力が必要だから来た。そういうことだろ。で、来るんだろ一緒に。人に物を頼む態度じゃねえな。頼んではいない。取引だ。
Ooh, cocky guy, isn't he?
お互い拒否はできない。
You guys know me. If it's a Japanese-made game with Japanese characters, I want to play it in Japanese. Because normally the the English dubbing is terrible. And I was absolutely glad that I played Scarlet Nexus fully in Japanese, because I looked up some other videos that had, or no, I saw the trailer like sometime later, and it was all English, and I'm like, I am so happy I didn't play it in English. It was terrible. Look at those particle... Dude, Unreal Engine 4 has had some of the best particle effects.
With KK,
that's why I can't wait for Unreal Engine 5.
And gain access to devastating supercharged attacks. From now on, as you fight, you'll charge your synergy with KK. At full charge, you can enter wire-in mode to boost your powers.
That's crazy. Though I don't think Unreal Engine 5 will be
you'll need to latch
really improving that much in terms of particles. It's going a more realistic route. If you haven't seen the Matrix
Revelation
to the city. I can't remember which one, but the demo, the UE 5 demo that came out for PlayStation.
To clear out some of the sinister fog throughout the city.
It's very impressive. So I can't wait to see more of what's going to come from Unreal Engine. But Unreal Engine 4, easily one of the most impressive engines on the market. And there's been a lot of games in the last couple years that I really wish just used a pre-made game engine like Unreal Engine 4. Because a lot of studios try to build their own thing and
your powers will
it doesn't
grow,
turn out very well.
And with many enemy archetypes to fight, you'll need to evolve your abilities and strategies.
Or they use an engine that's not made to do certain things like, oh, I don't know, Frostbite being used to make RPGs. EA. The one thing I will always say, though, I'm not a fan of the TAA implementation in Unreal Engine.
Like these talismans.
Or just in general. If it's not done well, you'll get, and this is not a pun, you'll get ghosting effects, ghost trails from objects like characters or, you know, stationary objects when you're panning the camera around back and forth. A lot of frame drops, but you know, it's okay that they're showing it because they have some time to maybe iron those out. It was at 60, now it's kind of hanging around 30 or 40 FPS right now.
As you make your way through Tokyo.
You guys obviously can't see it because it's 30 frames a second video, but took some damage here. It's weird. I'm hearing the monsters in my left and right ear, but not in front of me. So it sounds like he's like surrounded, but he's not. He's just got these two enemies in front of him. They sound like, you know, they're coming from the right or left, and that's not correct. Love the magic sounds. I think it needs to be a little bit more prominent.
初公開のゴーストワイヤー東京プレイ映像楽しんでいただけましたでしょうか。本日ご紹介したのは本作のほんの一部です。まだまだお見せしていない要素がたくさんありますので、お待ちください。ゴーストワイヤー東京は3月25日発売です。
That's what I thought. It's coming out in March. So how much more could you show in a month? Bethesda. Oh, that's right. This game was actually, they're honoring the PlayStation exclusivity of the game, even though Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft. Okay, so there's cosmetics to unlock and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. If you get the deluxe edition, as they always do. Looks like we got a little bit more. All right, so it looks like we're just gonna go into some interviews and stuff like that. I really just wanted to see the gameplay, so it looks like it was just half that. I was thinking about going the whole length, but the interviews are something that, yeah. They go into talking about the gameplay and everything. I think that's fine. If you want to check that out, definitely check out the game itself, or the video itself. It's the State of Play. Just go to the official PlayStation channel. It'll be there. But that's all I wanted to really see. I wanted to see the gameplay and everything. And so far, it's looking great. I've got zero issues with the way it looks or the way it possibly will play out. I love the fact that there's a bow involved. And stealth elements. I mean, that's my kind of game right there. You know, I like stealth. And it's just so cool. That's why that has arrows, because he's using the bow. I had forgotten that there was a bow already in the game. But very Far Cry-ish. You know, kind of gives off, I mean, given the fact that the enemies are not human, it does give that Far Cry vibe sort of gameplay when the bow is out. Okay, I'm not trying to say it's oh, this is a Far Cry. No, this probably is going to be better than Far Cry. But the bottom line is that when you're using the bow, it's actually kind of the way he's holding it, the way you use it, very similar. Very similar, and that's not a bad thing. The bow is possibly one of the best weapons to use in Far Cry, in my opinion, if you use it correctly. So, love that. Love the magic sounds, but I did say earlier that they don't sound punchy unless, of course, you're using an explosive type of ability. You know, kind of like this right here, where he does his whole, you know, wire in mode, as they call it, and it's pretty cool when he uses the fireball later on when he's facing the two enemies in the alleyway there, or the really small roadway there. The fireball has got a nice concussive explosive sound, but the rest of his abilities don't really sound as good. I don't know if it's just like when you're casting them, it doesn't have too much of an impact. But I will say this feels more cyberpunky than Cyberpunk does. Even though it's not even set in that time period or time frame or genre, whatever you want to call it. It feels more cyberpunk than even Cyberpunk does. Which is, I guess you could say that's saying something, you know? So like, say, for example, like when I was, the example I'm talking about here, is it right here? Like, this is one of them. Like, the electricity doesn't sound, like, right there when he's charging that up, it doesn't sound very punchy or doesn't really have a lot of, I don't know, like right here. Like, that was a perfect example. He's charging up the fireball, and there's no sound. Why is there no sound? Like, I'm not, and it's not like there's nothing there, but it's really faint. And I feel like there should be something there to kind of indicate that you're powering up a fireball. And then when he fires it and it hits the car, that's where the punch is. But that buildup is just non-existent. Like, there's a little bit of a fire crackle, flame sound, or whatever. It's kind of silent. But then he lets it go, and it's got this nice, and then that's cool. But where's the buildup? There needs to be more sound, in my opinion, in that case. So, and this is where this is the exact moment where I feel like I'm like, man, this is more like Cyberpunk sort of thing. So, you know, I like the look, I like the aesthetic, the neon lights and everything. It's so cool. I love it. But I do think the sound needs a little more work, to be honest. The spells need to be more punchy, or at least a build-up like that needs to have more emphasis on the fact that you're building up a fireball, you're powering up something. It just makes it more immersive, if you ask me. It just sounds cooler too. But overall, very, very impressive to look at. Not sure if they'll be using ray tracing. Not every game is going to have ray tracing, obviously. I'm a big fan of ray tracing. I think it's a cool idea. And if it's implemented correctly, it can be very impactful. But it does look like maybe they're using screen space reflections. Yeah, you can even see the reflections on the ground kind of change and shift a little bit. It looks like they do disappear at the edge of the screen. Yep, it's wiping in. So they're using screen space reflections, which standard in the industry at this point. Lighting wise, I mean, this is supposed to be nighttime, and it's a bit on the bright side. So I don't know if that's because of all the light bleed or whatever, but I feel like it should be a little bit darker maybe. And that way, of course, your spells actually would have more of an impact in lighting the environment. Oh my God, if this game has like a decent HDR implementation and they, you know, maybe put in like ray trace shadows or lighting or something, like if they put ray trace lighting in here, like RTGI or something like that, it could have a major impact when using your spells to light up the environment and really make it glow. You know, really kind of put the emphasis on your powers. That would be really cool. But as far as I know, I don't think they're going to be using ray tracing, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Either way, it looks great. It looks like a fantastic game, my kind of game. You know, just like there's not many games that have done first-person magic. And like I said, I'm coining that phrase. It's a first-person magic shooter. And I'm probably not the first person to say that, but I want it to be a thing. That'd be funny. The only other one that I can actually think of was what was that magic spell game? I can't remember what it was called. Digital Foundry, they made a joke out of it. But anyway, that's the only other game that I can think of. And it's nice to see it being done in modern Japan. And perfect example though, you can see by the do not enter sign on the left there. If you look at the bottom right edge, you can see how it's kind of warped. It looks like it's warped the brick behind it. That's the ghosting effect I'm talking about. This is why I don't like temporal anti-aliasing. It's not good. Even the tree, you can see the tree has left ghost trails when he's panning the camera over to the right. It's an awful implementation of anti-aliasing, and I wish companies would stop using it. Stop using it. I don't like it anymore. It's annoying. And a lot of people are like, you know, they're happy to be done with MSAA and, you know, all the old standards. But you know what? I prefer MSAA. At least it was accurate and it didn't cause ghost trailing. But whatever, doesn't matter. I'm one of like maybe a few people who actually hate TAA. Not saying that every implementation of TAA is bad. There have been really good implementations, but generally it makes images look very soft, which is fine depending on the aesthetic of the game. But I prefer MSAA because it's much more accurate and it keeps the picture clean. You know, when you pan a camera, it doesn't leave ghost trails. It keeps everything nice and clean, and then motion blur gets added in to kind of, you know, smooth things out a little bit so it doesn't look so rigid. But that's just me. I'm picky, I guess, in that sense. But this was Ghostwire Tokyo. We got to see the first bit of gameplay. I'm excited for it for sure. I've been kind of waiting on this one for years now since they announced it. And I can't wait to see what Tango Gameworks has in store for us with Ghostwire Tokyo when it comes out March 25th. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below if you are excited for Ghostwire Tokyo. And do you think it'll come to Xbox? Because it's published by Bethesda, who's owned by Microsoft now. And this is exclusive, but maybe now it might be a timed exclusive. Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I'm Adam Wolf. This is Ghostwire Tokyo. And I'll see you guys later.